All right, hello friends. It looks like I'm live here. I always like to check first and see. All right, and perfect. Looks like we're good. All right. Hello, Tammy, and hi, Joy. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. There are a ton of live streams going on today, so completely understandable if you end up having to watch on replay. I totally get it. But with that being said, there are also a lot of Pretty Pink Posh live streams today, including mine. So you're going to get a ton of Pretty Pink Posh inspiration today, whether you watch them live or on replay. Mindy Egan was live yesterday, and her card was super cute. So I definitely suggest checking that one out on replay if you missed it live. I think a lot of us are using the new Christmas Bells products. So I think that I think we found the favorite. Not sure, but I am also using the Christmas Bells product today. I think Crystal Wiley is going to be live later, as is Nicole Spohr, and I believe Megan Andrews. So I think you have a ton of Pretty Pink Posh inspiration today. Hi, Peggy from Michigan. So happy you could join me. And hi, Tracy. I'm so glad you guys are here this morning. So as mentioned, you have a ton of Pretty Pink Posh inspiration coming to you live today. I sound a little stuffed up. I think my allergies are starting to kind of ramp up again. I always get this in between seasons. So just have to bear with me. I have a tissue in case I get a little sniffly. So just bear with me on that one. I'm going to give it a few more minutes before I switch over and start creating. Hi, Tracy. Common Sense Tracy. It looks like we've got a couple of Tracys in the feed. So I will do my best to differentiate between the two. So the Pretty Pink Posh holiday release is so cute. As always, everything Paulina creates is so whimsical and adorable. The release went live yesterday. We kicked it off with a video hop, which I am also a part of. So if you missed that, if you just go to the videos tab here on my YouTube channel, you will find that one. There is a $20 gift card code up for grabs at every hop along the stop. So you definitely want to check that out. It equates to about $280 in prizes as you get the chance to win just by hopping along and leaving comments at each stop. I used the gingerbread mugs die set for that card, and it turned out super cute too. Not probably another one of my favorites from this release. So definitely check that out if you haven't yet. Comment along for your chance to win. And of course, I have all of my shopping links in each video description. So if you're looking for the products I used in that video, if you're looking for the products I used in today's video, they are all linked below in my video description. All right, I think I've gone over all of the logistics stuff. So I'll go ahead and flip my camera around and we can get started. So just bear with me while I do that. I have to move my camera into place here, so it's going to cover me up a little bit and then get it switched over. Okay, and then let's get this so it's as straight as possible. I see my camera kind of moved there. There we go. All right. All right, and I think we are good to go. So these are the main products that I'm going to be featuring today. So this is just for the sentiments. I'm not sure why that got tucked in there. Oh, thank you, Tracy. I'm glad that that is helpful. Okay, so this is the Christmas Bells stamp and die set. Mostly for this, I am just going to be featuring at the sentiment. I'm going to use the Merry Christmas. So this mainly is going to be featured for the sentiment only. Lots of cute little bells, though, that you can color if you are a coloring type. So then we have the Christmas Bells stencil set, 3-piece stencil set. I'm super excited. This is probably going to take up the bulk of our time today just because it's 3 layers and we are going to heat emboss one of the layers to make it all gold and shiny. So that's going to be super fun. I am also going to feature the Christmas bell shaker. However, I'm not turning it into a shaker. I'm just turning it into a nice, fun, big embellishment piece. I have pre-cut all of the pieces, so we'll mostly just be assembling this together. And then I'm going to use this for the little secondary sentiment today. I have pre-cut this scalloped, and then we'll use this little guy right here to cut out the whole elements here. So I'm actually going to pull this out, oops, like so, and put it back on here. It's sometimes easier if I can see myself live, but I want to be able to see the comments. So there we go. Okay. That is a little bit easier. And I need to click on that real quick. All right. Pardon me, I am a tiny bit sniffly. There we go. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my screens here so I can see a little bit better. Okay, so let's go ahead. We are going to start with the background. So I'm going to grab my grip mat here, which is kind of a little dirty, so I'm going to clean it off. I use grip mats very, very frequently. So my grip mats are well used. They're stained by ink. They have paper fibers on them, all of those things. Hi, Melissa. How are you today? I'm so glad you dropped in. I'm just getting started, so you haven't really missed anything. Just kind of chatted a little bit and just getting going here. Okay, I have an A2 panel that I'm going to use today. These are 6x6 stencils, but I only need the A2 size. So I'll just adjust it on here where I feel like it best fits. So stencil, the bells are technically stencil A, but I'm going to do those ones last because I want to heat emboss that one, and I feel like that's best left last. So I'm going to actually do these fully out of order. I'm going to go actually from front to back. So I'm going to start with the bows, and I'm going to center them on that panel as best as I can here. Doesn't have to be perfect. Hi, Sissy Sue. So glad you're here. Thanks for joining me today. All right. And then I had kind of an idea. I am going to grab this smaller tape because I didn't want to use a 6x6 sheet for this because I didn't really need to. But I kind of want to mark where the stencil should line up, the next stencils, so that I am getting the best possible alignment. So I want to see how this works. I'm not sure if it will, and truly, it's okay if it's not perfect, but I am going to see, that one got a little off, if this helps me align them a little bit better on a non 6x6 panel. We're going to check it out. I've never done this before, but we're going to see. I could probably even just grab a Sharpie because it will clean up. It should clean off with alcohol, although I should test that first because I don't know for sure. I should test before I speak. And then maybe if I have this here, it will just help me better align the next 2 stencils. Okay, how cute are the bows? I think the bows by themselves actually just would be a super cute background even without the bells. So kind of look at your stencils like that when you are blending, or excuse me, when you're looking at all of these fantastic stencils you buy, check them out and see which ones also might just work on their own, because there are a lot in the Pretty Pink Posh collection that, while they're amazing all together, they are great separate stencils as well, and it really just kind of gives you more use. on them. So I am going to ink blend these guys in just a nice soft pink. I am using Cherry Blossom from Pretty Pink Posh, or excuse me, from Pink Posh Studio. You can use really any soft pink that you have on hand. Okay, and I'm just using a nice big brush to just really get the ink in there easily. This is such a light pink, I'm not really needing to dab off any excess or anything like that. Oh, pardon me. Okay, of course I'm getting a little sniffly. Just do a quick check over here. Yep. I always just like to check and make sure, especially at the beginning, that all things are working properly. Okay. Okay. I like that. I think that's good. I was thinking about maybe coming in with the next shade of pink, but I actually think I'm just going to leave them that nice soft pink and just call it good. All right, so I am officially done with pink inks. So let me put those away. And let's pull away our stencil here and look at those cute bows. These would be super cute for a baby card. Actually, this whole set would be really cute for a wedding card, I think, too. Oh, you know what? I am digging I'm digging my little guidelines that I created there because it helped me line it up super, super quick and easy. That is fantastic, friends. Oh, goodness. All right, these guys, we're going with mint. Right, Tammy, aren't the bells so darn cute? These are perfect for Christmas for sure, but I think these would be really, really cute on a wedding card. And if you knew the couple's wedding colors, you could always do like the bow and the sprigs in their wedding colors, and then the bells could be, if they are doing a metallic of any sort, or just, you know, a lovely gold, is also very pretty. Okay, you know, let me see. I'm going to do this. I'm going to line this one more time and see, because I feel like I overlapped it a little bit on that left side. Yeah. Okay. Maybe in the end, it's just easier to eyeball it. Let's see. There we go. That's much better. Okay. We are going to start here with mint. I'm going to use a big brush, and I'm going to have a pretty light hand because I am on this one going to come in with the next shade up, or I may actually just add a little, deepen the layers a little bit with a smaller brush and maybe just a little bit more mint. But I do want this to be really light and pastel. I'm going for kind of a vintage pastel look on this card today. I think that these bells kind of remind me of the pretty cards you used to see in like the 50s. I will say that the 50s, they definitely did a pretty amazing job on their greeting cards and all of that, and invitations and such. I've seen quite a few that my grandmother had kept back in the day, and they're so pretty and lovely. Oh, that's good to know about the candy cane stencil. I actually think I have that. And so next Wednesday, I'm going to be live at 11:30 again. I think this is going to be my consistent live schedule going forward, is Wednesdays at 11:30, Fridays at 11. Understandably, I know that a lot of people work, but I'm just not a big evening crafter. So really during the day is kind of works best for me. And right now on Wednesdays, I take my nephew to an appointment and I get home at about 11. So that's why I'm doing the 11:30 on Wednesdays. When and if those appointments ever stop or change or whatever, I might just go 11 and 11. So we shall see. So next week I will definitely be live again. It's going to actually be another Pretty Pink Posh holiday live, and I'm going to do candy canes on that one. And then we are gone next week. We're driving a U-Haul down to my mom in Arizona. So I won't be here next Friday, but the week after that, I will go back to trying to do a more consistent live schedule. But I do totally understand if you got to pop in, if you got to watch it on replay based on the time. That is totally understandable. But I think I am going to use, well, I think truly for the candy cane one next week, I actually have a background done with those that I never used. So I may just use it. Oh, good to know, Peggy. I'm excited to be able to see you here each week as you're able. Look at how cute those are. I mean, this is even adorable by itself. Oh, this is just so fun. I love Paulina's whimsical, lovely things. Okay, before we add the bell stencil, I'm going to prep with some anti-static powder because we are going to sponge in embossing ink on this section, and we're going to heat emboss these bells so they're nice and shiny. And actually the embossing powder I picked is a little glittery too. So it's going to be super fun. Oh, Tammy, if you grabbed these stencils, these I think would be really fun for a wedding. I'm just saying. Okay. Just making sure I'm using my little guidelines, and these are fantastic. I love them. But there's also human error. So I'm also kind of using the ribbon strings to help guide this as well. It makes me think of we're hearing wedding bells, and I know that the little sprigs maybe are less weddingish, so you could always leave those off. But most people have flowers and greenery in their weddings, so I think it's totally acceptable as well. Okay, let me grab my embossing ink. And so I just embossing ink is sticky and kind of gross. So I have a blending brush that I just use specifically for embossing ink. So when I am adding embossing ink into stencils, one, I hold the stencil in place at the area of where I am daubing that ink in. And then you'll notice I'm not doing like the big helicopter motion. I'm kind of more like sponging the ink in there. Couple reasons for that. I'm trying to make sure that the embossing ink doesn't get underneath the stencil because I want to keep the lines of the bells nice and crisp. And I'm also trying to make sure the bristles don't get underneath the stencil as well. So I'm also being very gentle. So I'm kind of keeping the embossing ink pretty liberal on the brush. I'm not, dabbing it off or anything. And then I'm just kind of doing my best to just kind of daub it or sponge it in there. So I'm not doing the big circles that I typically do when I'm blending with ink. This is honestly probably one of my favorite techniques with stencils like this, being able to add in a little bit of shimmer or shine with the heat embossing. I think it's such a fun addition. Okay, I think we're doing pretty good here. Just got a few more bells to get covered in the embossing ink here. I love that embossing ink is so slow drying because, this takes a little bit of time. I'm okay if it's not perfect, but I want it to be as perfect as possible. If kind of contradicting myself there, but I want it to be as perfect as possible, but it's okay if it's not totally perfect because it's handmade, not Hallmark, right? Hi, Mindy. Hi, friend. Mindy was live yesterday. I already said this at the beginning, but Mindy was live yesterday and she made a really cute shaker card with the Christmas bells. So if you guys missed that live, definitely be sure to check it out. Okay, I am going to very carefully peel this away. I don't want to smear or smudge any of that embossing ink. Ooh, and I can already tell I think it did really good job. All right, I'm going to set that aside, and I am going to gently remove this from my grip mat, avoiding getting my fingers in there. And then just need a little piece of scrap paper here. You're welcome, Mindy. And today I'm using the Pearl Gold Sparkle from Wow. So I've had this forever. And Heather actually pointed it out to me the other day. She's like, have you seen this? And I'm like, I actually think I have it. But I never think to use it. So it made me think of, as you can see, I did some stenciling on the back of this panel I didn't love, so I'm just reusing it. I'm frugal. I am not a waster over here, so if I can reuse it in some way, I sure will. Yes, you did, Melissa. I show this technique quite frequently because I think it's fun, and I think it it adds to the use of your stencils even more. Okay, let's do a little cleanup before we heat set here. Thanks, Mindy, because this gets glitter everywhere. But I have a fancy new tool that my friend Chris Staten gave me when I was in Minnesota. It is, I think you can get these on Amazon too. This one just happens to be Anna Griffin branded, but it's a little desk vacuum. And I am going to get as much of this glitter vacuumed up, and then I'll come in with a anti-static, or not an anti-static, but with a rag. But this does a good job of getting a good portion of that glitter up. Okay. There's that. And then I'll come in and get the little bit of extra that was stubborn and stuck behind. Okay. So check for any rogue glitter pieces that I do not want to be in the background. Or I don't want it to heat set. Some of this is going to get trimmed away once I cut it down. But let's go ahead and heat set. I think that is okay. It kind of didn't get any powder, but I think because I'm going to trim it down, I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. All right, I'm going to heat set. So give me a minute while I get this all set up. Okay, so let's do another quick wipe because while I'm heat setting, it definitely kind of blew off some glitter, but look how fun that is. Now, if you don't like glitter, totally understandable. Wow does have the gold pearl by itself without the sparkle in it. But I thought, you know what? It's Christmas. Like, if you can't do a bunch of sparkle at Christmas time, I'm not sure when you can. So I do find that the glitter makes it a little hard to know if you fully got it fully set. So just kind of gently touching to make sure it seems like all of the areas got heat set. And I think we're good. Not actually right there. Maybe didn't. Let me hit that spot real quick again and see. Also possible I just, like, when I was testing, I stuck my finger in it. And we're gonna call it good. I think there's gonna be plenty of stuff that I put over top of this background that I don't really need to worry. I will go ahead and clean my stencils later. The way that I clean my stencils is I just spritz them down with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and then just buff them clean. But I will save time on that. Hi, Marianne. So glad you could join. No worries about being late. Really, truly, the only thing I've done is this background. And of course, you can watch it from the beginning once all is said and done, if you want to catch what I did there. Okay, so let's actually go ahead and get this die cut. Now, here's what I'm going to say about my plates. They are in horrible, terrible condition. I need to create some new cutting plates here. But I have to get some, I taped mine together with clear packing tape and we're completely out. So I am having to make do. I have it on the shopping list for today. So just kind of bear with me on that today. Just ignore how horrid these cutting plates look. Hopefully they'll still work for me. All right, I'm going to cut this real quick and I'll be right back. Okay, and it worked, thankfully. Okay, so there is that. So that piece is all done. Cheryl is asking me, does glitter come off after the image is embossed? It may shed a tiny bit of glitter, but I think for the most part, once it's the bit that's set in there is not going to go away. So I would say the glitter that's coming off is glitter that really wasn't adhered very well when I shook it on there. It maybe was sitting on the top. So that is the consensus. So a little bit might shut off here and there, but not very much. Hi, Christine. Thank you. I'm so glad you're joining me. And I'm glad you're joining me for the first time. I'm glad you're liking what you see so far. And hopefully you will like what is to come. My YouTube channel is still growing, friends. So if you haven't subscribed, I would love for you to. And then you can hit the little notification bell so you don't miss out on anything in the future. Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate that. And hi, Tracy. All you missed is the background. So, of course, replay will be available right after, so you can catch up afterwards and see how the background came together. Okay, so next we need to work on our little shaker element, although I am not using it as a shaker. I'm just using it as more of an embellishment. So this is the Christmas Bell Shaker die set. And I actually have all of the pieces already pre-cut, but we're going to do a little bit of ink blending on some of the elements just to give them a little bit of gradation. So let's work on that first. So we've got some holly leaves that we want to use here, and then we have some little kind of like pine sprigs, I guess we could call them. So let's get these all added in here. Thank you, Marianne. I appreciate that. Okay, let's first things first. Let's grab our mint ink. I need to readjust my desk here. There we go. Thank you, Tracy. I got this tray on Amazon. If you go to lealawsoncreates.com and click on my favorites tab, I have a similar option linked there under my Amazon list. I can't find this exact one, but the one I have linked there is really close. So if you're interested in that, you can find that over on my website under favorites. All right, so you know what? I think I'm going to use my bigger brush for this. So that means these need to go down a little. I just think that bigger brushes kind of do a little bit better job at like a bigger gradation like this. Well, Mindy, we don't talk about building a home in Montana. So we'll say still in progress. Essentially, we are having to find a new builder. All right, okay, I like that. I don't know if it shows up very well on camera, but it just added a little bit of gradation to the edge, or, you know, yeah, the edge of that leaf. Okay, so then for this one, I don't think mint's going to work on it. So I think we'll grab Mermaid Cove, or just a kind of a teal tone. It's fine. It is what it is, friends. All will work out in the end. And this one, I think I am going to do a little bit smaller brush, just because these are a little more spindly. Okay. Okay. So I did not plan on doing this, but I think the leaves need some white splatter to emulate snow. So you might have to bear with me for a minute while I grab all of the things, but I think that will be a really fun touch. I think I'm only going to do it to the leaves, nothing else, but I think that that will be a super fun touch. So let me get all my things to be able to add white splatter to these, and we will do that together. Okay, so got a little bit of water. Oh, goodness. A couple of brushes, and grabbed the splatter white from Spellbinders. And then let me get these. Actually, I'll just move these to the side really quickly. So I splatter in just a little plastic thing that I had. It used to hold things, used to store things in it, and then I moved those out and turned it into my little splatter box. Okay. So maybe make them a little closer to each other. And then I'm actually going to use, as you can see, this is my little splatter tool here. I use clear blocks for everything except for stamping. Paperweights, splatter tools. Tracy's asking what's the best kind of brush for splattering. I'm not sure if it's the best kind, but I use watercolor brushes. What I've got here is they're round, and I've got a size 4 and a size 6. So these work great. These work great for me. So that's just what I tend to use. Okay, so splatter white is a little goopy. So I'm going to get some on my brush, not too much. And I'm going to put it on this little thing, and I'm going to add some water to it so it will splatter a little bit better. Okay, let's see. Hopefully this will splatter well. Okay, it's doing very, very fine. I might have to do a little more, add a little more goop in there. Yeah, let's get a little more. It's working, but it's very, very fine. So let's try a tiny bit more here. Oh, a fan brush. Melissa said a fan brush is good for splatting, that she's been enjoying that. I don't have one of those, so that would probably be worth a try if you have one as well. That's a great idea. I had never even thought of that. Thank you, Melissa. That's a great tip. Okay, I don't even know if you can see the splatters very well, but I've got just like a nice little collection of splatters on the leaves now, and I think it turned out super fun. Okay, so I will just put the splatter stuff to the side, and I will clean it up when we're done here. It should be okay if it sits here for a little bit. Okay, I now have splatter white all over my fingers, but that's okay too. It cleans off. It just inky fingers, or I guess painty fingers, just show you had a good time, right? I'm just trying to gingerly pick these up so they can dry. They shouldn't take too long to dry. The splatters are really quite fine. Cheryl, I think that is 100% that is just how splattering goes. It definitely tends to hit where you don't want it to go. I'll end up having to clean my desk off because there will be splatters all over the place, but eventually they get there if you just keep splattering, and eventually they will get in the place where you want them to go. But I do totally get that. All right, I am going to clean up my desk here where I just got a little bit of paint smudged on there. You're definitely not alone. Okay, so while those dry, let's go ahead and create our bell element. So I have cut it just from some white for the outline and then ivory glitter for the inner part. Now, the inner part is typically how you would make the shadow, or excuse me, the shaker window. But since I am not turning this into a shaker today, I am just going to use these pieces to turn it into like just a nice big bell embellishment. Oh, so Marianne is asking me, what are the names of the cardstock used for the leaves? So this is from the current Spellbinders color wheel, the 48 colors. This is like the mint tone. I can't remember if it's called mint or not. I don't know that one off the top of my head. This is blue spruce. So Spellbinders, the Spellbinders cardstock. That's like their most current 48. And it's that mint tone. I'm just not sure if it's actually called mint. And then I know for sure that one's called blue spruce. Ooh, excuse me. And when I am done here, I will do like a full supply list and add it as a link into the video description. But I only added the Pretty Pink Posh products for now, just because I tend to change my mind here and there, and I grab things on the go. So it's just easier if I complete the supply list, the full supply list after. And then, so I will add that into the link list not long after I end the live here. You're welcome, Marianne. Thank you. Thank you, Mindy. Mindy confirmed that it is just called mint. I thought so, but I wasn't for sure on that. All right, so I am just popping these pieces up with some foam to make this cute little bell embellishment here. And look at how cute that is. And it's sparkly. This is ivory glitter cardstock. I use the ivory glitter cardstock from Michael's. Pink Fresh does have an ivory glitter cardstock as well, if that's your preference. I think this one has a little more glitter on it. So just for reference, you can grab either. Okay, so let's start putting our bell together. So I've got a layer of white glitter and a layer of pink. The pink cardstock I just pulled from my scraps. So it's possible it's Spellbinders, but it's possible it's not. So don't quote me on that one. And then the red berries I know are pomegranate from the Spellbinders full 48. If this is not the pink from Spellbinders, it's really close. So that's definitely one you could go with. And it would be a definite, like, very close match. And yes, I'm using a ton of glitter on this card. If you can't use glitter at Christmas, I don't know when you can. Hi, Leanne. I'm so glad you're joining me. No worries about being late. It will be available for replay when all is said and done, and I'm just glad you were able to pop in. All right, I am going to glue the ribbon at a little bit of an angle, and then just use some tweezers to hold it in place, because sometimes it's a pain in the butt to glue stuff to glitter or cardstock. Oh, sure, Marianne. I can definitely do that. Marianne is asking if I can show the bubble mailer sandwich at the end of the live for if you're using an intricate die and you're having a hard time cutting it. I can certainly showcase that. I was mentioning it actually in Mindy's live. If you're cutting from acetate and you're struggling for like making little shaker windows from these shaped shakers, that I have found works super well for me is if I throw a bubble mailer underneath it. So please remind me, Mary Ann, just in case I forget. And I will certainly showcase how I do that at the end. Hi, Clara. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for joining me. I hope you like what you see and you'll come back again in the future. It looks like cookie dough, Tracy said. I'm assuming you're talking about the glitter cardstock. It kind of does, doesn't it? Put little brown circles in there. It'd be like chocolate chip cookie dough. Okay, I think that should probably be good. And then we're just going to glue it to the top here. Oh, perfect, Marianne. Thanks, Mindy. Oh, goodness. Maybe it wasn't quite set. Shoot. That's okay. You know what we'll do? We're going to do this, and we're going to glue it down like so. And then we'll just take the tweezers and do it like that. There we go. All right, my fingers are very gluey. Okay, before we keep building the bell, I think I'm going to let this sit for a minute. So let's go ahead and let's get our sentiments stamped while we let that glue set on the glitter. Hi, Paulina from Pretty Pink Posh. I'm glad you popped in for a second. Thanks so much for doing that. I appreciate it. Oh, like, oh my goodness. Someone is saying this looks like a cookie. Oh my goodness, it does look like a cookie. That is awesome. I kind of love that. Absolutely, Melissa. So funny, I used to struggle with tweezers. And I would very rarely reach for them. But now that I have been using die sets like this so much more often this year, I have found that reverse tweezers are like invaluable, especially when you're doing like die cut sets. Like I use all of those little teeny tiny Spellbinders sets and all of that. So yeah, I definitely agree that these little teeny sets are super invaluable. Okay, so for this, I'm just using the sentiments. I'm use the Merry and the Christmas, just doing a nice traditional Merry Christmas sentiment here. Mindy is like the queen of tweezers. So, okay, so Merry, what color do I want to do Merry in? I actually think, weirdly enough, because I'm going to put red berries in and embellish I'm losing my train of thought, to embellish the bell. So I think I'm actually going to stamp the word Merry in red to kind of coincide with that. Because if not, that will be the only thing that's red on the whole card. So I think it will be a really nice touch. I always stamp with dye ink a few times just because I never feel like it stamps very well on the first go round. Much better. Okay, let's clean that one. I'm going to just go ahead and stamp the secondary sentiment directly below it, and then we can cut them out. Should be able to cut them out at the same time. And so that's just going to be Christmas. Just put it a little bit below that so I've got enough room to tape down both dies. Like that. And this I am going to use just some Nocturne, the VersaFine Clear. It's nice crisp black sentiment. And that one does not need to be stamped twice. We're good to go on that one. Okay, and that can be put away, and hopefully now that will have given the glue enough time to set up. I might go ahead and die cut these real quick, and hopefully that will have been enough time to get all of this stuff set up. But look at how cute those turned out. I love just how crisp and clean and great those fonts are. All right, I can use my little Scout for die cutting these. It's definitely small enough. Definitely Tracy. Well, one of them. I'll go with one of them. Okay, I need the coordinating Merry die. I actually need to be able to see this a little bit better. Okay. Isn't it a great font? I agree. Need some tape. I know I have some somewhere. There we go. Okay. Tape that guy into place. Oops. I know. Someone's going to say, you should get a magnetic mat. I know. I'm slow to change, friends. So I just kind of go with what I have. Okay. And then from the sentiment strips, this is probably one of my most used die sets. I use it for pretty much any company out there. It's got such great banner dies on it. Super high quality. Love it. It's one of my favorite die sets, and I use it all the time. I use it on so many projects, and not always Pretty Pink Posh projects. When I need a good banner, if I've got like a nice thin sentiment or like a little secondary sentiment that's real small, I reach for these time and time again. Okay. It is a great set, y'all. I think it may not be in my supply list yet, but I will get it added right after. I think it was a last minute addition. because I hadn't fully made a decision on sentiments. So, but I will get it added into that link list right after I end the live. Okay, I have to clean up. This is too much of a mess for me. Okay, let's get, I'll just put these over here with the sentiment stuff. So that one goes there. This one goes here. I love that Paulina has the die outline printed on the backing, so you know where it goes. The little type A person in me likes to know where to put the die back, especially if like I've taken off multiple. Yeah, I know the scallops are so cute. As you can see, I'm going to use the scallop today. So that's another, probably one of the reasons why I reach for it all the time, because I love the scallops so much. All right. Okay, let's get back to assembly mode. Let's get back to our little thing. I think, yeah, that's nice and sturdy on the bell now. Okay. All right, we're actually just going to start getting this card fully assembled here. So I have a white top folding A2 card base that I'm going to cover with pink. I've kind of been doing cards this way now, just because cardstock is kind of expensive. And so rather than making the card base from the colored, I'm just covering a white card base with the colored cardstock, and it stretches it a little bit further, because white cardstock is super inexpensive, or it can be. So I have just been doing this way to save on my colored cardstock usage. And I'm actually really enjoying it, because if you want to do like a dark colored matte, like black or navy blue or something like that, then the inside is still white for people to write their message, or you to write your message on. So I'm just gluing that directly down to the card base with liquid glue. And then I am going to use this super, super thin. It is the 1 millimeter foam tape. I believe this is scrapbook.com's brand. There might be other brands out there that have the 1 millimeter, but this just happens to be the one I have. And it is just a super, super thin foam tape. So it adds a little bit of dimension, but not an excessive amount, because I'm adding dimension in the bell as well. So I'm already going to have to do the extra posted. I'm going to have to do the butterfly stamp. That is the basically, like, it makes it's the non-machinable, and so it adds postage ounces to it. But I still wanted to fit in an envelope, so I like this super thin 1 millimeter. So it gives a little bit of natural shadowing, but it doesn't pop it off too much off the back of your card base. You're welcome, Marianne. Glad that was helpful. Okay, so then I'm just going to mount this to the front, like so. And look at that, just a little bit of shadowing, a little bit of lift. Okay, so then this is going to go in the middle, and we're going to kind of just accent all around it. Ooh, actually, maybe put a couple down here too. Maybe. Actually, gotta make sure we have 2 up there. Actually kind of preferring them up around the bows. It will be easier once this is glued down, but I just kind of want to get an idea of what it looks like. It's kind of cute to hang the bell from the top too, maybe. We'll see. Actually, you know what? Because I also have the sprigs, maybe 2 of these could go down here, tucked a little bit more in here. could be some berries there. And then we'll add the little pine sprigs. Oh yeah, I actually like this. It'll look cuter once I actually can do a better job of placing everything, but this is just to get a good idea. Thanks, Mindy. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for popping in. I appreciate it. All right, and then we have all these little berries here that we'll figure out. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of not sure if I love having the extra down in the corner. Okay, we're going to kind of see on that. Okay, we'll fuss with that a little bit. I'm going to go over an hour, but hopefully you guys are okay with that. All right, I'm just going to kind of leave those in there. And we're going to get the bell glued down to the front. Well, thanks, Melissa. I'm glad you enjoyed that. I like it too. It's a very pastel card, so I like that. That pop of green is really nice. I do agree with you, considering just how light in tone everything else is. Okay, I love I can't remember who said it, and I apologize, but when whoever said this looks like a cookie, it does look like a cookie. That's such a great idea. That's such a great thought. I love that. Okay, so then Merry Christmas. Okay, this is I'm gonna pop this up on here with a little bit of foam. Okay, and I love how that just fits perfectly inside of the fits perfectly inside of the scallop. See, I kind of want this to, I'm gonna maybe do it like this. Merry Christmas. Not sure if I'm loving that. This is always where I get a little quiet and I get a little fussy. I may actually just put it down here too. We'll see. I'm not quite ready for the sentiment yet, but okay. You know what? I think I just need to start gluing pieces in. And I think that will start helping me make some decisions. Okay. I do like how these look for sure. So I'm going to lock these ones in. Oh, that's fun, Melissa. What a fun tradition. I used to make sugar cookies, and more often than not these days I make like molasses and snickerdoodle and those chocolate crinkle ones that kind of taste like brownies. Those have been my recent go-tos in terms of Christmas cookies. I did back in the day have a really good sugar cookie recipe. I should break it out and try it again. And they were super soft and very delicious. Oops. Hey now, friend. Which one has the glue? It's that one. Stay in your home. Okay. Tuck that in. Ooh, I keep knocking that and it's very loud. And then sneak this one in. All right. Well, that's just way cute. So now I've got the sentiment that I've got to think about, but I feel like I'm covering up so much of the bell. Wondering if I need to make an executive decision to switch out the sentiment just to something smaller, because this is just taking up a lot of room, friends. And it's not coming together exactly the way I expected. So I know it's going to make me go long, but I think I'm going to change out my sentiment. So I do apologize for this. But this sentiment's just not working for me. So let me grab what I think is maybe going to work better. Yep. Okay. I think the Christmas banner greetings are going to work better. Oh, no worries. Peggy, totally understandable that you have to leave. I know I'm going a little bit over an hour. So I think in the end, this is just going to work out better for me in terms of a sentiment. Because it's going to be a little bit smaller, and I can maybe even just put it down here in the corner. So that's only the big change. Thank you, Tracy. Okay, let's grab, I may have to go find oh, here. I think that scrap of red cardstock is really close. Thanks, Melissa. Yeah, I'm definitely having to do a plan B here because that sentiment was just not working for me. It's a super cute sentiment, not working with my card design. Okay, so I have used warmest wishes already. I think I'm using joyful holiday wishes on one of my Instagram hop cards. So let's do, actually, you know what? Let's do peace on earth because I feel like bells, or maybe joy to the world. Either peace on earth or joy to the world. If you guys have an opinion, let me know. I think joy to the world. I think I'm going to go with joy to the world. And I'm also going, is this going to be too much red? Oh, so many decisions I have to make today, friends. I'm wondering if I should switch it over to a pink. I might need to switch it to pink. Okay, we're switching to pink. Lots of changes. Lots of changes. Okay. All right. Melissa is saying joy to the world, and that's the one I picked, so perfect. Right. So I think I'm going to heat emboss this in white. There we go. I will clean that up afterwards. It's okay if embossing ink stays on there a little bit. Okay. Oops, sorry, I hit the camera. All right. And set this. And that is perfect. That white just pops right off of that pink. And so because we have all of the stitched details, I'm going to pick one of the stitched banners for sure. I think I'm going to do the one that has the banner edges just because I feel like it really fits with the theme of the sentiment here. So I will update my supply list to show that I'm using the Christmas banner greetings and the new banner die set. This is a really great sentiment set, and I have a sneaking suspicion that this is a new sentiment series set, which I'm super excited about. One, I love the banner dies. They are fantastic. I'm going to be using these as well. Hi, Kathy. So glad that you joined me. No worries at all about being late. Of course, as you mentioned, the replay will be available when I finish up shop here. Going a little long because I kind of went with a plan B on a sentiment because the original sentiment wasn't working for me. So I'm going a little over. Whoops, going a little over, but this is, I think, is just going to work so much better for me. So I'm glad that I did that little pivot over to this new step. Okay, let's put this guy back so I don't lose it. All right, I think I'm going to be 1,000 times happier with this. Yep, I sure am. Because it's going to go down here in the corner, and then I have a little place that I can tuck those in. And you know what I'll do with these? I'll keep these, and I bet you I can find a different card design that will work with those. Maybe on my Instagram hop cards, which I'm still working on finishing up. I was looking for this, and it was not in the place where I expected it to be. Okay. Add a little bit of thin foam strips. Thank you, Melissa. And we're going to cover up a little bit of the bell part there, but that's okay. Not going to worry too much about it. Okay, that is so darn cute. And then these little guys can tuck in here, and then I can add berries. And I will probably, if I decide to add embellishments, I'll probably do it off camera. I'm thinking I'm just going to add some sparkling clear confetti pieces here and there, but I'm not even sure if I will. Okay. All right. This did eventually come together. I'm super thankful for that. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what was going to happen here. Okay, there's that guy. And this guy. Oh, I should probably do that because I got glue on it. Okay. Probably will need to reinforce that a little bit, but we'll do that in a minute. Thank you, Leanne. Okay. Let's see here. I actually want to grab the berries. Thank you, Kathy. I want to grab the berries here because I want to add a little blending to these two. I want to add a little gradient to them. So I probably will not use every single berry on this card, but I'll still blend them so they have the gradient. Maybe I can get them to stick. I keep sticking them down and then my fingernail gets underneath them and flips them back up. There we go. Okay. So these guys, I think I'm actually going to use a little peony just to add a small gradient. It's just a small detail, but it's a good one. So tiny. Yes, they are very tiny for blending. That's why you get little tiny brushes. I even have smaller brushes, but I think that is good. And then we'll go with candy apple because it's a little deeper. And I actually may even use my super tiny brush on this one. This one may not show up. This one may be all for naught. Yeah, I think this one is a moot point. That's okay though. Yeah, it did better. It showed up a little bit more. You can see it a little bit more in person, but it definitely showed up more on the pinky toned berries. Okay, clean that up. I'll clean my grip mat off here in a second, but let's kind of get these pulled up. Like I said, I won't use all of these, I don't think, but just a couple here and there, and I can save the rest of them for another project. Oof, I'm probably getting red ink all over my fingernails. I am. That was dumb. Well, already did it, right? Okay. So let's grab this first. And I think we're going to do a set of berries, like a trio up here, like on the bell. Super cute. And then probably a trio kind of tucked in here, like so. Red, yeah, like that. Then maybe just a couple tucked in here. I used all of the red ones. Who knew? Who knew? Oops, goodness. Like so. Cuteness. Tracy is asking me, do you save all the extra pieces with the dies? I do. I just tuck them in the back of my die packaging. And then when I go to make another project with that product, if it works, I can grab them. And then if not, eventually I may toss them. But, oops, I meant to do the pink first. But I do try to use all of the little pieces so that I'm not wasting work that I've done. Okay, so while I'm gluing these down, I had thought about frosting them with a little bit of glitter, but we're already at, an hour and 15 minutes, and I don't want to take up more of your time if you would rather move on. So let me know if you want me to frost them live, or if that's just a step that I can either do after the fact or just not at all. I am fine with either option. I am going to have to reinforce those in there. Which it actually was a little helpful that I could pull those out because the berries were being a little difficult. Thanks, Melissa. Yeah, the red just was a nice little added pop. Now the red sentiment I think was too much. I'm glad I pivoted on that. But I do like the little bit of extra that the I'm gonna have to just really glob some glue in there to get this to set up properly. Okay, I've got quite a few of people saying just to go ahead and frost it. So I'm going to go ahead and frost it. Thanks for sticking with me. It's okay if you need to head out. I'm totally understandable. But we've got some friends who want me to frost it. So let me grab my glitter real quick. And this little thing I can use. Okay, so when I frost stuff like this, I just go ahead and I start by adding like little dots of glue. I don't really care where the glue is at. And then I wish I had I should have thought to grab that did not glue very well. I'll have to reinforce it too. Like a little word I'm looking for? Like a Q-tip. But I just add that and then sprinkle glitter directly to it. It's okay if some glitter leaves behind. You can get it off later. Ooh, this guy is just moving all around. I'm going to have to fix him. Okay, add that. And then you have beautiful frosted berries. How pretty is that? Now, this is not a card you would send to someone in the military or anything like that, especially if they're overseas, but super fun, sparkly card to send to friends, family, people that like sparkles. And that is how I easily frost little berries. You could do it to leaves, all sorts of things it works on. But I just think that's one of the easiest ways to add little frosted elements. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for joining me today. You know what, for the pivot and all the little extra things, I didn't go over too bad, I don't think. So let me get my camera switched back to me. And get this out of my way. All right, thank you guys so much for joining me. Someone asked me about hold on, I got to put this back. Someone asked me about the cutting sandwich. I'm going to answer Melissa Horn's question really quickly. What glitter did you use? This is just a big glitter pot that I have. I actually put washi tape around it because it's not the brand. It is just a mixture of prism glitter and chunky glitter. And there's lots of brands out there that have it. And when I get like little things of it, I just pour it in. So I think there's a mixture of Lawn Fawn in here. There might be some like brands you might find at just like a local craft store, like a Michael's or whatever. There might be some of like the Ranger options in here. This is just like a big mixing pot for iridescent, like kind of that whitish clear iridescent, both Prisma and chunky options in it. So that is what it is. That's why I put washi tape around the brand, because it's not the brand. Okay, let me put my camera back in place here real quick. And I will go over the sandwich method that I use for when I need to add a bubble mailer into my die cutting sandwich. So you just start with whatever your normal cutting plate sandwich is. I have a Gemini 2, and I use the method where you tape a double-sided, I think these are like those like frosted green double-sided cutting plates with just the standard white cutting plates. And that's what I use on top and bottom. So just start with your standard cutting plate sandwich, whatever that is, for whatever die cut machine that you use. And then let me find a die real quick. So say we have these, and they're pretty intricate dies, right? Probably will cut fine. But if you find yourself struggling to get the little tiny little elements in here to cut out, this is where a bubble mailer is perfect. So give me 1 second here. I trust you all, but this has my address on it. So I'm just covering that up. I don't put my address out there public. So you just take, just a standard bubble mailer. I also have little small pieces that I cut away and keep on hand. So I'm just going to pull this little piece out. So then say you wanted to cut these from some, let me find a color here. This big enough? No, not really, is it? So anyway, this is just for show. So put the bubble mailer down first, then whatever cardstock you're going to cut it from, annoying me that it's not the right size. There we go. And then you put your die on top. So you are cutting into the bubble mailer, like so. I'll just go ahead and do this. But you know what? I'm going to cut it from some white, because then I can just ink blend them into whatever color I want. So there's that. Let's tape this guy in place, and I'll go ahead and cut it so you can see how well the bubble mailer helps those intricate little pieces. So then just run it through your machine like so. And then when you're done, they cut out perfectly. This one did. My cutting plates are a mess, so this one is still not even cutting out super great. Also, have good cutting plates. Like, update your cutting plates when they're looking like this. So then this one cut out perfect. Here's what I'm going to say. This die cut out perfectly fine when I cut it from my Scout, even without a bubble mailer. So this is a product of my really well used plates here. So, but that's the premise of basically you just cut into a bubble mailer to add a little bit of extra pressure. It's really great for all of the, the intricate dies you might have, and especially the dies that have a lot of chads that you have to pop out, because oftentimes as a lot of those will get left behind in the bubble mailer, and so you're not stuck there for hours popping out little tiny chads. Now, I have found that when you're using a die that has a lot of little chads that you need to pop out, that the paper bubble mailers actually hold on to those a little bit better than the plastic ones. So just something to keep in mind on that. Okay. All right, I'm glad I remembered. But now I'm going to go ahead and pop back over to my front facing, and we can say goodbye. I've kept you for almost an hour and a half here. So I am thankful for those of you that stayed with me, and for those that had to pop out, no worries. I'm just glad you were here for however long you could. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching my vintage little Christmas bell card come to life. I'm actually really thrilled with how it turned out. I'm glad I made the sentiment pivot. I think it turned out a lot more to what my brain was thinking it would look like. Oh, you're welcome, Marianne. I'm glad you enjoyed the tip. I hope it helps with your intricate dies. You can do that with any die cut machine. And actually found, even if you're doing like a crank die cut machine, it is easier to crank through with a bubble mailer than a metal shim for me. So, and I think it does, I feel like it puts a little less wear and tear on your machines as well. So just a fun tip to keep in mind. It's not mine. I learned it from Heather, who learned it from, she saw a video, I think on like Instagram, and you know how when you're on Instagram, sometimes it just auto refreshes. Well, that happened. So she never learned who she learned it from. So we're not really sure who the originator is of the bubble mailer technique, but we're sure thankful that they put that tip out there. All right, guys, that is everything I have for you. I will be back here live on Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. Mountain Time. It's going to be another Pretty Pink Posh holiday card, and it's going to be candy cane themed, and we are going to create at least one shaker element. So I hope you'll join me on Wednesday at 11:30. If you're not able, of course, the replay will always be available for this and all of my lives when you have a moment. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye, friends.